The crisis in Peru's public education system is one of the key issues to be addressed by the new administration, resulting from this coming Sunday's second-round presidential elections. In constant decline for the past 3 decades, the pandemic has dealt the sector a final blow. Presidential candidates Pedro Castillo and Keiko Fujimori have offered to double the education budget, but without saying how or when that will be done. More with our correspondent Veronica Insausti.
This is the second school year with online education, but only 39% homes nationwide have internet and 34% have a computer, while in rural areas only 6% of the population have access to these services, according to information from the Ombudsman Office. These deficiencies added to a collapsed infrastructure and a deficit of 50% in teachers hiring.
Historically, politicians have no interest in solving the education problem. Why should they have it now? I wish it were so, but it must also be said that education in Peru is one more reason for people to feel that social distance, because there are good schools in Peru, of course, like Newton, which costs $1,000 a month and $18,000 as entrance fee. If you have that kind of money, you can get a good education. That is for a minority. The vast majority in Peru do not have access to a decent education.
During the last 3 decades and progressively, the state have been handing over to private companies the responsibility of guaranteeing access to education. Only 38% of public schools nationwide have a potable water, and in the last 8 years they have destroyed public employment in the teaching profession, reducing the number of appointed teachers from 330,000 to 148,000.
Stop privatizing. Both Castillo and Veronica Mendoza agreed that they had to reverse the negative tendency of appointing teachers and start appointing at least 50,000 teachers every year.
With a deficit in human resources and the vast majority of schools in a state of emergency declared by the Ministry of Education itself, the state assigns a large percentage of its annual budget to sponsoring private education and exonerating them from paying taxes.
What does the state have to do financing private universities and this destruction of teachers' jobs, of which Castillo has also been a victim himself? That should end, and we should return to having a public education service of appointed teachers and make a significant investment in basic education, not disinvest as these gentlemen pretend to do. Under the pretext that they are reforming the service, they are actually privatizing it.
Presidential candidates Keiko Fujimori and Pedro Castillo have promised to double the budget assigned to the sector, which today is 4% of the gross domestic product, an increase that has been in waiting for more than 20 years, when in the framework of the so-called national agreement. All political parties committed to increase education funding. Veronica Insausti, teleSUR, Peru.